Good afternoon. My name is Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com. It is Thursday. Welcome to today's recap and look ahead. It's been a very interesting week. Lots of methodical trades, lots of pivots to use, lots of setups to grab and then go with, lots of managing positions, and that's been the way to make money this week, as well as being prepared with knowing what earnings are coming out, knowing what levels could hold or could be some resistance. And I don't have a lot of time, so let's just take it right to the charts. Here is the chart of the S&P cash, actually the spiders, I'm sorry. This is when the bears had their chance and couldn't bang it below the 50-day. And then what we do, we cleared this descending trend line, and that was your time to get into some kind of portfolio approach. Why? Because we went above the 8 and 21 day. Here we were below, and that was your spot. You could have done it on this day or could have done it on this day when we had a higher low and stayed above and didn't just fill the gap, but that showed some power. And now here we are, 7-8 sessions later. Earlier this week, we had a retest of the prior high and the 8-day, and it held. So that could have been a viable pullback. And then today, we held yesterday's low and closed fair. So all in all, the trend is your friend, but you have to pick and choose your spots so you're comfortable holding them. Yesterday, we put on a meaty tier 2 position in the IWM. Why did I do that? Because for the first time, it seemed like it was breaking out and the risk was very defined. I tweeted it out to Redler All Access when I was buying it pre-market yesterday, and then added it in today, took some off, and I'm still in some. I still think it acted pretty well. Okay, so for me, I'm going to stay in some because if I sell it, sometimes I don't go back to it. But it still looks good. You had this upper channel, which was looking very constructive after a monthly, almost a year channel. So anyway, at this point, it looks fine, just no setup, so I'm just going to try and stay with some. And then if you go into different stocks and different setups as far as how to initiate. So today in the private Twitter feed, I said, hey guys, look, a red dog reversal, let's get long. What does that mean? Okay, NVIDIA right here did a small red dog reversal, not a huge one. Okay, it wasn't a big red dog reversal, but it was below the prior day's low, okay, which was 164.61, and then came back above it. And it held the 8-day. And look how tight it is in front of all-time highs. So it was something that we were focusing on. I also had it, just on my radar. So today I bought it a little bit lower. I added to it, and we'll see tomorrow. If it opens here and trades through 167.50, you could add to it. If you think you're going to miss a trade with an upgrade or whatever, you need to have some overnight. Okay, when this thing pulled in during the market correction, it held the 50-day, was very strong, took back the 8 and 21-day here. Now it's nice and tight, and it does seem as if it can make new all-time highs. If it opens down tomorrow, you know what, you took the risk, so you just have to know what you can handle. For me, I'm long this, and I think maybe, it makes an all-time high perhaps tomorrow. Let's go over other high beta names. Amazon, I'm not in overnight. First time in a while, I'm not in it. I did miss my buyback. I talked about it in my notes saying if it were to pull back to 1,022, I'd be a buyer. But when it pulled back there, it didn't look good. I should have just had an automated process buy my levels because that's the level I had from the note, which was yesterday's low. What did it do? It held it, came off there, still looks good. Last real strategy I had here was when it was flagging. It was long, and then when it took out this pivot, I added to it, and now got to figure out a way back in. If not, you know what? No big deal. This morning in Google, after being up for 9 out of 10 sessions, I tweeted out to my Redler All Access also, guys, do not buy this up open. I don't care if you think it's going to all-time highs. It's extended, and then even around 9:45, sent out a tweet saying you could short verse yesterday's high, and I actually did it. And I don't like being short. Stock went from up 4 to negative. To me, it looks like you got to wait and see a little bit here. It did close off lows. It does look a little bit more constructive. Now, if it were to go sideways here for a little bit, then perhaps, you get a different trade through all-time highs, kind of like what happened here. Hopefully, if you had short on the brain in Google, from the breakdown, once it reclaimed this support that turns into resistance but didn't, you said, okay, you know what, I got to get out of the way. It's now back above the 8 and 21 day, so now we'll see if it goes sideways to go. But to me, I think it needs some time. Facebook was definitely wishy-washy also. You could have made money long and short. There are times to be very, very long. When do you get very, very long? Okay, first of all, this was in a great spot, but that was hard to do when it took back to moving averages. But when it gapped up above prior resistance makes all-time highs, that's your spot. Now you're just managing the trade, trying to maybe, buy dips or, go like the stock went from, green to red, which was a trade, which, from up 90 cents to down $1, that you can make cash flow that way. But obviously the bigger trade has been to buy it. At this point, I'd love a little bit more time up here to flag to go again. Tesla, it was on my Redler report, and there was a stock focus of the year when I had the descending channel, exceeded every freaking, I shouldn't say that word, expectation. And I kind of was out of the way for the last 50 points. Everyone's like, Red Dog, you missed a little bit. I'm like, okay, I don't care. I had a huge move. This was why it was an A+ setup going into the year. And then you had another nice setup here. And then I remember this setup here when it took out highs. And then it broke, this last ascending channel. Lost the 8 and 21-day here. That was when the trade changed. So what now? I do think there's another trade here. Okay, I became hyper-focused on this because I was not involved for this down move. Granted, I could have been shorted when it went below the 8 and 21-day, but at least I was out of the way. Here you had a Red Dog reversal. That was a nice trade into the moving averages. And now it seems as if we have another inside range that could resolve to the upside. It's very news-driven, so you have to take care. I am long this overnight. I haven't been long this overnight since here. And then it even opened down and you had another trade through that high. But for me, I feel like, I'm long some. It's holding in here. Maybe if it happens to break this, I'll stop out there. But if it opens down a little bit, you maybe buy it. And then through this, I think there's another trade back into these moving averages. But you have to be very careful with Tesla because it's somewhat broken, but trying to repair. As far as the XLE, this morning, tweeted out that I'm going to be selling a little bit into the 66.40 area. And then when I did it, I told Redler All Access I'm out of a portion, half. I'm still in half because I'm trying to stay with this trade. I don't love the fact that it closed near the lows, but oil was weak. But you did get a bit of a trade. Why did I sell it there? Because I thought maybe there'd be some resistance into this other point of reference, so that's why I'm out of it. I'm not getting fully out of it just in case it can go sideways and maybe hold this spot, so I'm in small just in case. And I do think it's in the game, but this is a broken sector trying to repair, so I tread lightly. Yesterday I was long a lot, sold some, and now I'll figure out if I want to stay with it. But if this were to break, I would get out of the way just because, it has a lot to prove, and there are other things that are a heck of a lot easier to trade. Some of you guys are worried about the financials, and yeah, they do look a little vulnerable. Goldman Sachs looks like worst in breed. Maybe the market will care. Right now it's kind of below this little spot, below the 8 and 21-day. It's not a long. I guess it has to really break this spot for the bears to, short this thing and get it to the downside, which then maybe, could get the broader indices a little weaker. But for now, kind of just out of play. I think there's better things to do. And that's really it. I think this week there's been a lot of good. Oh, you know what? The bios. How could I forget the bios? You know why? Because I'm just sitting in the IBB. I haven't really been trading them since last week when it held that 310 area. A lot of people were asking me today, what are you doing? Are you still in it? I'm like, yeah, I'm still in it. Why are you still in it, Red? Though it's a long hold for you. Because I've been holding it since here. This is where we added, and I remember selling some strength into the 318s, and I bought a little bit back into this spot, sold some strength again, didn't do anything today. Although it looks like it came a long way, and this was the start of a move, there could be more upside. Why do I say that? Go to the weekly chart. You can see on the weekly chart that this is a bull flag just coming out of this. So in my humble opinion, as long as the market doesn't fall apart like everyone keeps predicting, it could see a move to there. So if I sometimes sell it, I don't get back in. So I'm trying to stick with some and trade around it. But all in all, the bios have been very good to the T3 Live crew the past month or so. So keep looking for the next setup. It's been working out. And if those of you read my note, I've been in the GWPH calls since before or into this pullback, which was nice. And now I'm down to half. To me, it's a little bit of resistance. There was a lot of tradable moves. This is when it took back the 50-day. Here, it traded above there. So lots to do. If you turn the TV set down and don't just listen to the thoughts of North Korea, the back and forth about Trump, the O.J. Simpson trial, you know what? Look for setups. And if you want a little bit more actionable trades, in my new paid for Twitter, which is only $9.95 a month, which I think is less than 50 cents a day, I try and update all day long with what I'm doing. And it's tweeted right to you. So if you want that information, just look at my Red Dog T3 Twitter link, and you'll see some examples of the past day or so. If not, no big deal. Just take what you can from here, connect the dots. And tomorrow I'm in Short Hills, so I will not be doing any videos. And I hope you have a great weekend.